Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good evening, everybody. I hope that you're having a nice evening. It's a little soggy outside, so what a great day for a webinar, huh? I welcome those of you who I haven't met yet. My name is Kevin Ross. I'm the founding chairman of First Washington. I'll be screwing that up forever. And I'm also the Pacific Northwest District Chair. On the line with us tonight are Adrienne Rimey, and she, of course, is actually the one who's doing all the heavy lifting this year. I'm sitting back in awe of everything she's accomplishing. And also Debbie Kerr, who is doing the same thing in Oregon. So thank you to both of you for all the hard work that you're putting into this. It is very much appreciated. I know that I don't believe Cindy or Aaron are actually going to be on the call tonight, but
Aaron actually should be here. She's calling in.
Oh, she is.
So she probably can't talk, but she's listening.
Okay. Well, then I will try not to screw anything up. Thanks for the warning, though. I appreciate that. All right. With that, we've got quite a few people on the line already, so we're going to get started. Adrienne is recording this, and we will upload that recording to YouTube later if anybody has missed it. So for tonight's agenda, we're going to go over real quick the calendar and the important deadlines. We'll give you a quick update on what we know about our district for the year. We'll be talking about the participation fees and invoicing. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about World Championships, what we know of it so far, and we'll end up introducing you to our friends at Get Sports. They are going to be able to help all of us with some of our travel arrangements, and so we appreciate them joining us. So that's basically where we're headed for tonight. Hopefully we can get through this with lots of extra time at the end for questions. So just real quick, we do have a lot of stuff still to happen before kickoff. I think let me first start by thanking everybody who did off-season events, and we had a lot of them this year, and it was a great deal of fun. We just had one over in Spokane last weekend, and that sounded like it went really, really well. And of course, we had the Girls' Generation events, which were epic, and we also, of course, had Apex Robotics did an off-season event right at the beginning of September. So thank you to everybody who volunteered, and thank you so much to those teams for really putting out the effort to make sure that we have a vibrant FIRST community. Upcoming on the schedule is December 9th. There's going to be a team social in Oregon. Debbie, do you want to, Debbie Kerr, will you tell us a little bit about what's going to happen?
I would be happy to. For those of you who received my weekly updates, this will just be a refresher for you that we are inviting our Oregon FTC teams, but also our PNW FRC teams to join us at the World of Speed, December 9th from 6 to 11. I'm afraid to say any more because I have an echo.
Oh, we don't hear your echo. Keep going.
Oh, great. We have 2 movies that we'll be showing, and there will be a video game room and a karaoke, so that's all in the same room. Teams are welcome to bring their own board games. There will be tables set up throughout the venue, so you can find new friends and teach them your game. ORTOP will be providing popcorn, and soda will be for sale for $1 a can.
Well, outstanding, and events like this kind of help draw our community together. So if you're able to attend, I encourage you to do so, and we'd really like to thank everybody who's involved in putting that on. There's the Oregon Team Social thing here is a link, and I have just copied that into the chat box if you are interested in looking that up. It is a link to Eventbrite, and it's got some more details for you. And again, thank you so much to everybody who was involved in setting that up.
Kevin,
Okay,
I will also, Kevin, I'll put that in the with the workshops and webinars. When I post the webinar, I will put that in with that so that people can follow the link from there too, and it will also start going in my weekly emails as well.
Okay, the next thing up would be on December 17th. We have a couple of things going on. We have Bunny Bots, which is boy, Catlin Gable's been doing this for a very long time. It is a fun preseason contest, and you should check that out. You can find that on the internet if you look up Bunny Bots and Catlin Gable. I don't see Dale on the line tonight, but it's fun and it's a great opportunity for you. Also on December 17th is oh, I'm sorry, first giveaway. It's at the First Washington Fieldhouse from 9 to 3. And what we're doing is we end up games, both FRC and FTC game setups from previous years, and other. And I think we have some random bits and pieces. First come, first served, and so that'll be on at the Fieldhouse in Kent. Of course, January, we are putting that up here, and probably hit this a couple more times. As of yesterday, 74 teams had not registered. If you have not done that yet, we kind of really actually need you to do that by the end of this week, please. Well, we'll probably start pestering you tomorrow, and it's relatively straightforward to do. Here's the so you need to log into your First Inspires account as the team administrator, and then Kevin won't be telling you what his password is this time. I think that was enough. Yeah, that should do it. And I just want to show you where to go because sometimes it isn't obvious. Dashboard should end up looking like, and you need to come down here and click on Kit and Kickoff, and it will allow you to select which kickoff location you're attending. You should be saying yes, and will you be picking up your kit at your local kickoff event? You should be saying yes, and that way First will end up shipping your I'm sorry, it's now called a kickoff kit, but they will ship it to us. If you neglect to do this, your kickoff kit will be shipped at your expense to your team, and so this is something you definitely want to do. All right. So it's relatively straightforward to do that, and please get in there and do that right away. All right. And then we also wanted to point out that for Washington State teams on January 16th is Advocacy Day in Olympia, and so what we really want you to do is to think about students on your team that would benefit or enjoy going down and speaking with legislators in Olympia about the FIRST program. They are expecting us, and they will be in session, and you'll be able to go and meet with your representatives and also show some support for the entire FIRST community in Washington State. The legislature has been really gracious in helping fund a lot of our teams. We would like them to increase their funding so that we can not only form more teams but also get more money for you guys. So this is in everybody's best interest, and we appreciate your taking the time to do that. We do realize that it is during building season, and but it's still important for us to do nonetheless. All right. I haven't been following the questions. Do we have anything that we need to cover, Adrian?
Nope, I think at the moment you've covered everything.
Outstanding. All right. The other big thing is, and this is for Washington and Oregon, by the way, you know, FRC teams really sort of form the core leadership and the core community for the entire FIRST community. As I'm hoping all of you know that we actually have 4 programs. We have First LEGO League Junior, we have First LEGO League, we have the First Tech Challenge, and we have the First Robotics Competition. And historically, leadership in our FIRST community sort of resides with the FRC teams. And so we rely heavily on FRC teams to help support the other programs. And so we have a ton of great volunteer opportunities, not only for your mentors, but also for your students. And this is a great way for your students to share and give back to the FIRST community that we hope they find very important. It is a badge of honor to be a volunteer, and we're really excited that we can present a whole lot of opportunities. It turns out that on December 3rd and 4th, there are First LEGO League qualifiers across Washington and Oregon. The list is very, very long, so we decided not to put them up in high detail, but suffice it to say there's likely going to be an event in your area on one of those 2 weekends, and this is a great way for your students to contribute. And I will also put in a plug for the fact that, you know, it's pretty rare for Chairman's Award winning teams not to have been involved in the operation of the other programs. So keep that in mind if your team is vying for Chairman's Award. Here is your golden opportunity. We are both organizations, both First Washington and ORTOP are 501c3s, so the students, if your school has requirements for community service, that we qualify for community service. All right. So, and I don't need to run this exhaustive list, but you can see there are opportunities to volunteer pretty much throughout December, January, and February. Great team activity. If you've got students that may not be so technically inclined or are you need somewhere to allow your students to be a part of the FIRST community that that otherwise may not be participating directly in the robot build, great opportunity for them to get out there. So we really, really appreciate your support with that. We're also looking for adult mentors, for adults to take the role of judging and referees and things that students aren't necessarily well suited for. And it's a great way for maybe you can get some of your sponsors more involved in the general FIRST community that way. So thank you so much for considering that. All right, next up. So for FRC, we have some deadlines coming up. So we're currently in the state where third play registrations are open, as are inter-district play registrations. So if you want to play a third time, either in our district or out of our district, you may sign up for that now. And you would go in and, let me pull back up my, my account here. You would go in and grab yourself up another event. And so you can find an event, you know, do a find event in the Pacific Northwest District, see which are still available. We do still have room in several of our locations, so I'll tell you which ones those are in a little bit. Okay, you must be done with all of your registration, your kickoff locations, and where your kickoff kick is going to be done by the 21st. And those are rules enforced by FIRST, not by us. But please, please, please get that done early. It's a real pain in the butt for us to have to try and lobby to get an exception for you because you forgot. In fact, if you want to do it right now or while I'm chatting, I won't be offended if you do it now. All right. And hey, we're going to be beating a dead horse, but kickoff registration really, really is important for you to get signed up. And there is still room in all of our kickoff locations. We have them in there's one in the Spokane area. I think it's at Cheney. We've got one we're going to be at Auburn High School again. We're going to be at Mount Lake Terrace again. There are several in the Portland area. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I can't pull them up.
So there's one, I believe it's University of Portland down in Klamath Falls. We have an event, and in the Corvallis area there's an event.
Yeah.
Oregon State, correct.
Yes, Oregon State. Thank you for that. All right. We're pestering you about this because most of you haven't done this. Over half the teams haven't done this yet, so we need you to do that. All right, let me tell you about the district this year. Looks like we'll probably have 156. We may have as many as 158, but we're pretty sure we have at least 156. Once again, we're holding 9 district events. This year, the district championship will be at Eastern Washington University in Cheney, Washington. And then we do still have 4 competitions that have some room left. Central Washington, Mount Vernon, Lake Oswego, and Auburn all have a few spots left if you're interested in doing a third play. We do want to remind everyone, if you have First Tech Challenge teams, that you need to factor into your schedule doing extremely well. I happen to have 3 FTC teams myself. The First Tech Challenge Super West Regional will be on our week 2, the week 2 of the FRC competitions, March 10th through the 12th. And, you know, so kind of keep that in mind and sort of, you know, work that into your scheduling decisions. We appreciate your doing that. Okay. Here are the events in case you haven't seen these. I think all of us have seen these, but you can see the relative numbers. Most of our events have a capacity for at least 36 teams, but you can see Lake Oswego's still got plenty of room. Auburn, where is Auburn? There it is. Auburn still has room for about 4 more teams. Central still has room, and Mount Vernon also still has some room. Actually, West Valley has room too, don't they?
Yes, West Valley has room too. I'm sorry, that was my mistake. I didn't get them on the list.
Yeah.
Also, just to let everybody know, if you try and register for a third play, it is going to put you on a wait list. That doesn't mean that there's not space. With inter-district registration happening, that is the protocol, and I will pull you off and put you into the event.
Yep. Adrian, I'll let you answer Maggie's question directly.
I'm doing it now.
All right, sounds great. And in case you are thinking about registering for third play, it costs $1,000 and it doesn't count for points. Now remember, third play means that your third chronological play won't count. So if you end up signing up for a week 1 event, then your week 1 and say your week 3 event would end up being the 2 events that count, and if you end up in week 4 or 5 or something like that, those won't count. Okay, and so great opportunity if you, especially if you think your team is you'd like to get some more students through to learn how to drive, or if you are feeling saucy this year and think you've got this, it's a great opportunity to get some more practice time in. Okay. All right. Hey, look at this. District participation fees. You remember these? It's the same as last year, $10,866. And as always, don't panic. We've got you actually covered. We've actually been working on the invoices already, and I don't believe any team is paying more than they did last year. I believe we have quite a few teams that are at 63, 66. And most teams are lower than that. So we have to follow a donor intent on this, so I'll get to that in just a sec. The invoices are likely to go out tomorrow. That's the plan. All right? And so, and again, you know, some teams are paying a lot less, some teams are paying more, and it just really depends on where our donors asked us to put the money. And We try and ask for unrestricted funds so that we can spread it to everybody, but some folks have geographical preferences or demographic preferences that we have to honor. Okay, so and the reason that we bring this up every year is that if you were to compare your invoice to another team's invoice, they very, very likely will be different amounts. And please rest assured that Aaron and Cindy and Debbie and Bruce Schaefer and I and Terry Campbell, we've all worked, and Adrian have all worked very, very hard to make sure that we've spread the peanut butter as evenly as possible. So there you go. That's what we know. If you are in a Washington State team with an OSTI grant, your school at this point should have been notified about your grant, and the money is actually sent directly to your school from OSTI. So you'll need to find out from your I-grant administrator whether they have found out what the actual number for your team is or not. Okay, all teams again were awarded an extra $2,000 out of the limited pool that we have. So all Washington State teams were allocated an extra $2,000, and so your invoice may be as much as $2,000 higher than some of the other teams, and that's because we raised that money for you already. Again, you know that we are trying our best to increase the resources available to all of our teams, but we just want to be upfront with you that if your invoice is slightly higher and you got an OSTI grant, that is probably why. All right. We actually did pretty good on the fundraising this year, so I think everybody will be pleasantly surprised. All right. Now, there's also grants from Boeing, NASA, Murdoch, rookie grants. So we have already incorporated Boeing, Murdoch, and the rookie grants into the numbers. We have not heard about the NASA grants. We were hoping to hear about them today. If your team did apply for a NASA grant, we don't know the answer either. So, but all of that has been factored into your bill, and you will see line items for that. And we are in constant contact with First Global. NASA is the last one to release their grants, so we need to sort of wait on them a little bit. It may be the case that we end up sending you an invoice, and if you had applied for the NASA grant, we may end up re-invoicing you at a later date with a smaller number. So that's okay. We believe that we're sending the invoices out tomorrow. We do need you to pay before December 9th. And that's almost a month. It's a little under a month, and we end up having to turn around and write a really, really big check to First on that Monday, the following Monday. So we really and that'll get all of the kit of parts and stuff in the works. If we don't receive payment by then, it's really a nuisance. So please do your best. The main contact from your team, whoever is currently, actually I should say, whoever was in Tim's, I think it was a week and a half ago, that is the person getting the invoice. So it's up to you to get that to your purchasing department. Okay? If you're overly late, they may not send you your kickoff kit. So keep that in mind. And this is what the invoice is going to sort of look like. There's going to be this participation fee, and then the list of grants that you have been awarded. And again, all of these are I think there were 156 teams. We had I think it was 685 individual line items to enter. So there's a lot of stuff that actually went into getting all of this in place. But so it'll look something like this. Some of you will actually end up getting checks from us because there are a few teams that got fully sponsored and had a credit. You'll see that on your invoice. Okay. How am I doing? So hopefully most of you, we do have a few rookies. That's why I went through all of that. for all of us who have done this in previous years, it's kind of working the same as it did last year. There shouldn't be any big surprises there, all right? But we do have a number of rookie teams, so I just wanted to go over all of that. Okay, let's talk about World Championships. This year, in case you hadn't heard this, World Championships, I guess it's actually not called World Championships. I think we're not sure what it's called.
I think it's just First Championships, yeah.
Yeah, they changed the name on us. Anyway, it'll be April 19th through April 22nd in Houston, Texas. It will be a new venue for us and a new venue for First. This year they upped our allocation. 41 teams are going to Houston. And so we will be sending the 3 district championship Chairman's Award winners, 2 Engineering Inspiration Award winners, and 1 Rookie All-Star winner. And then the next 35 district-ranked teams based on your overall score for the entire season. So it ought to be a rip-roaring good time. That is a lot of people for us to send down. We're pretty excited about that. You know, First has put in a request to the Pacific Northwest District in particular. They are going to need some help at World Championships. They need to expand the volunteer base, and so they've asked us to step in and help recruit as many volunteers as possible. That's everything from robot inspectors to Qers to FTAs and judges and all of those sorts of positions. You know, I think we can all proudly wear a cap that says that, you know, we have actually one of the most experienced volunteer pools in the country. First knows this very, very well, and you know, because we are a district and because we have so many people that put in so much effort, we have really, really well-trained volunteers. So they're asking us to try and recruit as many experienced volunteers as we can, and they kind of do need our help. Last year we sent, I believe, Adrian, was it 100 or 96 or 100 people? I can't remember.
Yeah, we had about 95 people volunteering from the Pacific Northwest at St. Louis last year, and they were just floored that many of our volunteers travel to an event like that. They've also realized how versatile our volunteers are and that they really are leaders and they're willing to do what it takes to get the job done. I explained to them that that's just what we're used to here, but they really need that in Houston. They're going to have a lot of inexperienced people with it being a new venue, and they really need our people who can just see what needs to be done and take the bull by the horns and do it.
So, great opportunity for us to go show our leadership, and yeah, I mean, we sent like almost 20% of the volunteers for St. Louis last year. So yay us. I mean, good job, community. We really rocked it. Okay. So with that, before I go on any further, this is actually we just have 2 slides left. In just a minute, we're going to talk about our travel folks, but I did want to give it a quick second for any other questions related to anything that I've already said. Oh, how many teams are going to the Eastern Washington District Championship? We are sending 64 teams to the District Championship. So if you do make it to the District Championships, there is a fairly large chance that you actually may end up going to Houston. So, you know, be aware of that, and you know, with 41 teams going, your chances are pretty good, you know, of going. So you might want to be sure that your students are thinking along those lines. And you know, there's a fairly short turnaround there, so I would definitely let your school district know that there's a distinct opportunity for you to make this trip, and find out what paperwork and sorts of things you need to have in place to make a trip like that. It's relatively straightforward to cancel. On the flip side, sometimes districts will throw up a whole series of bureaucratic hurdles in your way for trying to make a trip on extremely short notice. So I would definitely find out what is it that you would need to do to take a large group of students to Texas. You'll be there from realistically you'll be there from either Tuesday or Wednesday all the way till Sunday. So there you go. I definitely would want you to think about that early. Okay. Adrian, will you handle Jillian?
Yep.
She's got a good,
yep. I'm
good question with that.
I'm typing as we speak. So yep, we're good.
All right. Good. All right.
The other question, we did have somebody ask how many teams are at Houston total. That hasn't officially been released yet, but we will make sure everybody knows when it is released.
It's very close to 400. We don't know what the exact number is, but it's really close to 400.
Yeah. I think it's a bit higher, but that's just kind of the scuttlebutt that I'm hearing. I haven't heard an official number.
Yeah, if I look on at my secret page in RIMS, it actually is pretty close to 400. So, but we're that's not for us to actually release that in the exact number and all the rest of that stuff. But it is just it's as big as St. Louis used to be before they made it 8 fields or whatever it was. Okay. All right. So with that, we have a couple of guests. They are from a company called Get Sports, and I'm going to make sure that they are ready to speak. So Cameron and Jared, are you guys ready?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and can I give them a little bit of an introduction first? So just so everybody is aware, in the past, I've gotten tickets through Alaska Airlines to help all of you with travel. When we're sending 41 teams, 200 tickets doesn't go very far. And so I've started working with Jared and Cameron, and they're going to take over a lot of what First Washington did because they can do more for you guys than we were able to do. So kind of with that, so this is going to be in lieu of our Alaska Airlines tickets, but I think in the long run it's going to help you guys way more than we were able to help you.
Yeah, and I will also point out that the reason that we got away with this with Alaska is that they allowed us to book the direct flight, but they were unable to pre-book connecting flights. Well, to get to Houston, it's mostly connecting flights. So. But we do really very much appreciate Alaska Airlines and everything they did to help us out. They're lovely, lovely people, but they're unable to offer us the same deal just because it gets complicated with the multiple flights. So, so with that, thank you so much to Jared and Cameron for tuning in. And guys, tell us what should we expect from you?
So, I'll go ahead and start out here. This is Jared, by the way, everybody. Hello. So, basically, you can just expect us to kind of be there for you for any questions or assistance that you need as far as the air travel, ground transportation while in Houston, whether you need charter buses, car rentals, airport shuttles, if you want to rent passenger vans for the time that you're there. Mostly, I'm sure the big thing is going to be the flights. We have a lot of group options. We have myself as an event manager with Get Sports and Cameron as our logistics manager as well, working with other people in our other corporate office to basically just negotiate different group rates, quotes, and get as discounted group space as possible for as many people as possible. So obviously everyone's going to have different numbers of people. Everyone's going to have different number of people that are going to be traveling. So a lot of it will be individual team basis, but we will be available for any questions and information that you may need. I'm going to let Cameron go into a little bit more detail here in a second, but we'll throw our email addresses in there and contact information as well, just to let anybody contact us with any questions after this as well. But I'm gonna let Cameron jump in here for maybe a little bit more detail.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jared. I appreciate it. I just want to let everyone know, first of all, that Jared's absolutely right. We're here to answer any questions that you might have throughout the process. So even if it's just shooting me an email and saying, hey, I don't understand this step in the process, or giving our guest services team a call and saying, hey, I don't necessarily understand what the next steps are, we are absolutely available for that at any point in time. So that being said, I know that the timeline for you guys, especially the largest chunk, based on what Adrian has said, is going to be last minute for getting your hotels, getting your airline, all that stuff. So we are actually trying to put together a little bit of a different approach on our end to try to secure some larger blocks ahead of time. So more to come on that, hopefully in the very near future. But basically, what the process would be is, once you're registered, you can go online to our event website at gettravel.com and put in the information into the group air request form. That gets sent directly to me, and then I work on getting that taken care of for you. Usually takes 24 to 48 hours to get those specific terms back to you, but as the requests increase, that timeline may increase. So, bear with me, but we will definitely get it for you. We do also have an individual airfare method where you can book directly online. That's for 9 or fewer people, so doesn't really sound like that would apply to too many. Maybe a situation where some volunteers are going individually or something like that. But I would encourage most of you to try to go through that group option, because that's really where the largest savings is going to be for you. And if you notice the asterisks on there, the terms, conditions, and pricing requirements really are determined by the airline carrier, which is a little bit different than what your experience is with the hotel booking. The hotels tend to have, just a firm date, and you're off and running. But the airline carriers really have their own window for when they want the payments and when they want the names sent to them. So we will give you that information before we ask you to commit to the pricing and really pull that trigger. So you won't be surprised by anything, and there's no hidden fees or anything like that. We also do have an insurance included in that. I won't go into that because, who wants to talk about insurance? But we do also have an insurance built into that we will give you information on when we give you that quote. The other option that we have for you is ground transportation. If you just really are dead set on traveling from Oregon or Washington to Texas, we can definitely help out with that. But also, more likely, like Jared said, once you're on site, if you determine that a charter bus is going to be a better plan of attack for your team, we can absolutely work with our partners in the charter world and get you guys set up with that. And we also have car rental links that are on our event website for Advantage, National, and Enterprise. The third component of the ground transportation on site is the airport shuttle. We're working with a company that we were referred to by another event partner called Production Transport, and they are a transportation management group, and they do an absolutely outstanding job of event shuttles, of airport shuttles, that kind of thing. So there's going to be more information coming on that hopefully very soon. But that is definitely something that you'll want to consider. That may save you a lot of money in doing like a charter. You can just take the airport shuttle if you're going to be nearby the event itself. The only other thing that I wanted to definitely mention is we are also putting together some events and some exciting things for you to do while you're there in Houston. If you have been a part of the St. Louis program before, then you've seen a little bit of what we have available with our riverboat cruise, our full night out. We're retooling both of those things because we've had some feedback, some great feedback from guests, and so we want to, you know, really make you or help you have the best experience possible that while you're there in Houston. So definitely a lot more to come on that as well.
Well, thank you, guys. So, I think what we will do in the next month or so, folks, is we will get we'll put a place on our website that will have the details of where you need to go and get sports to find stuff. So we're going to rely on them to do most of it, but we will provide a place for you to go from the first world to figure out where to go in the Get Sports world. Does that sound good, Adrian?
Yeah, Kevin, what they will do is they will create a web page that's specific for our group, and we'll make sure that we have access to that page both on our website and on the ORTOP website. So, you know, I would look for that in the next month or so. I'll work with them to build the page, and that should have all the information that the teams need, so it'll just be a seamless transaction. They'll go straight to our website. They'll see everything they need on our website, but they'll be working with the Get Sports people and not with us.
Okay. Well, thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate your efforts, and we're hoping that you'll be able to help our students out, because it's all about the experience for the kids, and so that's awesome. All right, so we're going to move on actually to the last slide, which is your to-do list. Most of you need to register for your kickoff, and please do that as soon as you can. You're going to start getting pestered by Adrian, more than likely starting tomorrow. So if you don't want to be pestered by Adrian, it's not much fun. It happens to me all the time. So go ahead and get yourself registered for your kickoff. Your team invoice should be showing up tomorrow, definitely Thursday by the latest, but the current plan is for Terry to push the button tomorrow afternoon. We had a few last-minute grants come in to take care of. Okay.
Kevin, Kevin, if people don't get an invoice or if they have a question, what email address should they use? And I'll put it in the chat window.
I believe that they should send email to accounting@firstlaw.org, and that will that actually goes to a small group of people, so that and including me, and so I will be watching. Terry Campbell is our business manager at First Washington, and she's actually very good at her job and is very responsive. So if you haven't seen anything by Thursday night, there is a chance that we may not send it out tomorrow. So it is our distinct plan to do so, but if you haven't seen anything by Thursday, in fact, actually what we'll do is as soon as we send them out, we're going to send one quick team blast just to let you know that you should be getting your invoice. And the reason we're doing that is that the email is actually sent from the QuickBooks system, not from our internal mail system. And we just want to make sure that you're aware that you should have gotten an invoice, and that's all that email is going to say. So we will blast you when the invoices actually go out, so you'll know to look for them. If you don't see either email, that means we probably haven't sent it yet. But definitely start pestering us on Thursday night or Friday morning if you haven't seen an invoice by then. Okay? Let's see.
I'm gonna take. There's a couple that are asking about lodging. So we got some information from Experiant today that I haven't had time. Debbie and I have been emailing back and forth, but we haven't had time to get through all of it and look at all of it. I will be sending more information about Experiant in my email next week, and I believe some of it is on the ORTOP website, and we're going to work to get all that information up on our website prior to next Tuesday.
Awesome. Okay. So that hopefully that covered Tonda. Excuse me for just a sec, folks. We're just, so Alan, we're talking about Experience. It is the official travel company from FIRST. There's a reason that we're talking to Get Sports. Let's just put it that way. However, yes, we sort of do have two travel companies.
See, Get Sports doesn't have get to do the hotels because the contract is with Experience. But as you all said, as Kevin said, we're talking with Get Sports, which should tell you something.
And so we'll give Experience the benefit of the doubt. They got a lot of, let's say, creatively constructive feedback. Some of it sounded a bit like a Donald Trump campaign, but it wasn't. They got in a lot of trouble last year, so hopefully they have wised up, or they're going to lose the contract this year. So we know that a lot of you had a lot of weird experiences with Experience. First Washington has no control over that, and First is sorely aware of almost all of those issues. So having said that, it's looking like we're getting some team-specific questions that I'm going to let Adrian answer in the chat. And aside from that, what is ORTOP? Somebody has asked. ORTOP is the Oregon Technology Outreach Program. They are basically the First Washington of Oregon, so they are our counterparts in Oregon. They do FTC, FLL, JFLL, and FRC, and they do an outstanding job. So they are great partners with First Washington. Okay. Somebody just tried to email frcteams@firstwa.org. So Craig, where did you find that address?
It should have been firstinspires.org. That was my bad when I was answering in the chat. You were ahead of me as I was trying to respond. He has a question I can't answer, so I was directing him to FRC Teams. It should be at firstinspires.org, Craig.
Okay, and that got him. Jeff has asked, how many rookie teams are in the Pacific Northwest?
There are 13 teams. 13 rookie teams this year. There may actually be 14.
Yep. So very exciting. So we all need to be prepared to step up and help those nice folks out, because well, you were all rookies once, and wow, there's quite a steep learning curve. So we appreciate anything that your team can do to help the rookies out. Debbie Kerr knows who all the rookies are in the Oregon and Southwest Washington areas, and Adrian knows who they are in Washington State. Or well, actually, we all have access to that same information. So if you are interested in helping one of those teams out, please let either Debbie or Adrian know about that. We really appreciate your help.
You know, Kevin, I also want to take just a brief moment and talk about STEMs. We've gotten a number of questions about STEMs. I can't say much. What I can say is the system sucks. We all realize that. Kevin sent a 25-minute video to FIRST showing them how painful it was to get through STEMs. We're working on our end to try and get an easier system, but unfortunately, we don't have any back way end of helping you through STEMs. We don't have that kind of access. So what I can say is if push comes to shove, print out paper copies of your forms. You're going to need to submit a copy at every event you go to, so make copies of that after the parents sign it so you have a copy for each event. But we do feel your pain and we wish that we could solve it, but we are very limited. There were 4 of us, one of our board members, Susan Martucci, for those of you who know Susan, who is our volunteer coordinator, Kevin and myself, all trying to create a manual, and it was so convoluted. Kevin just did a video. So we feel your pain.
Let me show you, for those of you who would like to give it a whirl, just really quickly, it's actually fairly straightforward. Let me show you how to try it. I have had very limited success so far, and I haven't, debugging it is very difficult. However, this is actually how it is supposed to work. The easiest way to do it is for you, the mentor, to actually get the email address from your student for their parent. Now, it's been my experience that students get it right about a quarter to half, or I'm sorry, get it wrong. Their parents' email addresses turn out to be wrong at least a quarter of the time. However, this may help. So from your dashboard, you go to Manage Your Youth Members and Roster. That's this guy. And what you can do is, hey, look at this. Oh, yay. So I actually should show you that, but I actually made a little bit of progress. Two people managed to finish it. So what you can do is you can put in like, Parent Jones or something like that. And so this shows up in their email. So it says, hello, Parent Jones, right? So if you actually know their real name. And then you can do, you can send them an email like this, and then you add them, and you can generate yourself up a list of these things. And then when you're done, you'll end up hitting Invite Parents and Guardians. That will send them an email that, in theory, they should be able to walk through and kind of figure out how to sign up in STEMs. I'm running about a 20% success rate at this. This is different than what we had done in the past, where the kids logged in with their own username and password and then tried to invite their parents, and then their parents had to log in. That whole system is just really, really broken. However, if you would like to try to use STEMs, and I encourage you to give it a whirl, this Invite Parents and Guardians seems to be the best way to get through that. Okay, and so then you would end up hitting Invite Parents and Guardians, and an email should get sent to them. You will not get any sort of reply if it was a bad address. You won't be able to find out about that. And once you actually hit Invite Parents and Guardians, all of this information goes away. So I would recommend keeping it in a spreadsheet on your own, because I would also associate which student is with which parent. I don't know about your team, but I have a lot of parents that don't share the last names with their students. So once you've done that, they should be able to sign up. So don't have the kids log in and try and invite their parents. The best way to do it is for you, the mentor, to invite the parents. Hopefully that made some sense. Again, I sent out 15 invitations and I've gotten 2 back, and that's after a week. So, right?
Kevin, I want to add one other thing, because I'm very concerned that we're not going to get good data from FIRST this year for our grants, meaning the grants that Aaron works to get for all of the teams. If we might send out an additional demographic survey at the end of the season to try and get accurate information on all of our teams. So because everybody's struggling so much, if you would bear with us and fill that survey out, it is going to help us get more money for you. So I know you kind of did it on the front end for the grant, but the more accurate our information is, the better we can serve you in getting you money. And since we're not going to be able to get that information from FIRST this year, we might send out a follow-up survey in the springtime asking you guys to enter what your demographics actually were for your team.
And we get the fact that, oh God, you're asking me to do something else, but point blank this afternoon at 12:15 today, I met with somebody from a foundation that just gave us a nice chunk of change, which is actually going to help support your team. And it was, they had very strict requirements about demographic information. And so this really is seriously information that we use all the time, and it is information that we need to be as accurate as possible. And because, you know, these people do come back and check. And because, you know, they're giving us a lot of money to help pay for your team, and they expect to have the ability to report to their boards. You know, these are foundations, so the staff people need to report accurate information to their boards. So I know it's a pain in the butt. I have 4 of my own teams. I get it. but it really, really does pay off for everybody in the long run. And that includes Washington and Oregon and Alaska, right? All of us need to be thinking about doing that. All right. So with that, I think we are going to be done. And we look forward to seeing all of you at kickoff as soon as you register for your kickoff location. And thank you so much for attending, and we wish you a good night.